G'day team, Simon here from the Feel Good Blueprint. I hope you're doing safe and well. Guys, it has been a minute. I have been absent towards the end of 2020, but I'm excited to be back and on track for this year. And I've got some really exciting content coming out and some different things to share with you. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to roll out a bit more further on my Antidote for Uncertainty series. Some of you are all good and back to normality or somewhat, especially from my home country in Australia and the next door neighbours New Zealand. But for the most of the rest of us, we're kind of in lockdowns and it's just not ending. It doesn't seem like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm going to continue this series on, and I'm going to bring some more ideas around how we can prepare ourselves for now, but also looking into the future, bringing our best selves to the table for us and for other people. So this session itself is about values. So there is no better time than now to turn inwards on ourselves and discover more. So knowing your values as a solid foundation and the rock in which you build your house is so important. So I'm going to show you your values as a foundation, how to set these up and discover these and create a higher quality of awareness of who you are, what you do and what you desire. So a little story on how I started my journey. So in 2013, I actually discovered values in two different ways. I never believed in them before. I thought they were a load of absolute BS. They're just a bunch of words that mean nothing. But I went through two really amazing processes that changed my mind and flipped me upside down on that. The first one was discovering my own personal values through a really incredible workshop that I did back in 2013. And also at the same time, I had the privilege of helping senior leaders within the company I worked in discover the values for that company. So I was doing it in a commercial company sense and a personal sense. And that really was a melting pot for me to understand the importance of values. So maybe you have your values written down. You know them in your head, you're really aware of what they are, but maybe you haven't revisited them in a while. Or perhaps you feel like you know what they might be, you've sort of played them out before in your life and you've got an idea in your head what they are, but you've not sort of formalized the process and written it down and recognized it, discovered it for yourself. Or maybe you've never even heard about it. All of these people, all these categories are great because this process can help you either refresh or discover or anything in between. So as I always say, make sure you find a space that is conducive to being productive, reflective and distraction free. It's so important to complete this exercise with grace. So find a space, wherever it be, in your house, flat, outside in a park, wherever you want it to be, that you don't have anyone or anything distract you. And yes, that means mobile phone on airplane mode or turn it off as usual. That is so important to get this drill right. I'd recommend that you put aside at least an hour for this exercise or two for the advanced method of this exercise. If you don't have that kind of time, you can always break it up, but really it's ideally a minimum of 1 hour chunks for this exercise. So when it comes to materials that you'll need for this exercise, you'll firstly need your draft jotter pad or notebook or notepad, whatever you want to call it, to put down your draft copy of your values. Then, as always, I show you my good copy, which you can have as an A4 or whatever you like, but it's my moleskin, which is really, really nice as a final copy. And you're going to need some pens and pencils to write down your values. Now, the options there also for the digital nomad to go ahead and do it all virtually or digitally on your computer. So you can always open up whatever of the documents that you use, whether it's a word processing document, a Google Doc or an Evernote. Do that as you please and use that. So now it's time to jump into the exercise, which is really exciting. So anyone that's not done this before, I'm really excited for you to discover your values. Anyone that has done this exercise before and knows their values, perhaps this is a great refresher for you. So the first thing we're going to need is to actually understand what are the values that we will be creating. We're going to need some words as guides. So I've put a link in the description, which you'll see, which links to my Medium article, and that has about 100 different words that describe different values. Things like freedom, travel, hope, love, exercise, whatever it is that is a value word that you're going to end up using. There's a whole bunch of words in my Medium article, so check that out and open that up when you do this exercise. So the literature actually says that usually it's between 3, 5 and 10 different values that we use as our top values. for this particular exercise, I recommend using 10, starting with 10 values. You can do whatever you like. You can do 3, 5, you can do 6, you can do 15. It's entirely up to you. I found the sweet spot, and what I've always done and what the general consensus is around 10, but whatever feels right for you. So refer to the values list. Have a look at that. That's the first thing you want to do. Have a look over the words, and I want you to try and choose around 30 to 20 to 30 different words that you think really resonate with you. You can circle them, you can copy and paste them, or write them down. So pause the video and do that first. I also want to mention that just because I have those top 100 values that I've put there as different words that you can choose from, you can always add your own. It could be any word that you want. You could completely not use that list and use another list online. It doesn't matter to me. It matters to you what you put down as your values. Those are just a guide, so choose whatever you like as your words or use the guide. It's up to you. Now here's the next part. Once you have down your 20 to 30 words that you think best suit your values, I want you to start to look at cutting them down. Yes, you need to cut them down and keep culling them down. So whether it's down to 15, 10, or 5, whatever you want to cull it down to that. I recommend 10. It's a hard exercise to be able to complete, but you need to be ruthless and really think about your first 10 most important values out of those words that you think are useful. How'd you go? Did you get down to your 10? Hopefully you're down to your 10 values now. You've had a really good think about it. If you haven't, go back and complete the other steps until you're really sure about those values. You can always check in with someone that cares about you, a loved one or someone that understands you, to see if that's right. But trust your intuition, trust your gut. The next part is to prioritize these in a pyramid style. So again, check the link in my article, open that up, and you'll see that I've provided a box that shows a pyramid style with your top value, your most important number 1 value at the top, and then it cascades down there from 2, 3, 4 all the way through to 10. You know, you need to be able to actually prioritize them from 1 to 10 and order them in most importance to least importance of those top 10. So go ahead and do that exercise now. Now here's the really exciting part. You can advance this by taking it a step further. So for anyone that's still with me on this one, you can take your values, your top 10 values, and really add some color as to why you've chosen them, so that when you take them forward in your day-to-day, you really know why you chose them, why they represent you, and why you act, believe, think, and feel from these values as well. So here's your guide to bringing your values to life. For this example, I'm going to use the value of honesty and show you how I bring it to life. So firstly, you want to put in a sentence why you've chosen this word. So here's an example of a sentence that you could use. I chose the value of honesty because I believe that honesty allows for me to be trusted and to seek trust. It paves the way for better relationships and a more integral life. So something like that. Now, what you want to take beyond this is the following sentences. So you want to think about your value in relation to the example value that I'm using. So when I feel integrity, I have honesty. With that, you want to say when I feel a certain feeling, you have the value. When I take responsibility for an error I made, I have honesty. So this is about responsibility. So when you feel responsibility for something, then you have your value. When I choose honesty, I choose trust. So when you choose your value, you also choose other words and other feelings and other actions as a result. So repeat this for all of your values. So go through all of those. So you had the 3 questions and the sentence. I'll put them again in my Medium article with the link. You can see that in action and how that's done in case I've lost you. So guys, there you go. There's a quick little crash course on how to discover your values, or renew them for some of you, to bring them to life with different sentences and ways of speaking about them, and to use them in your day-to-day and put them down on paper and make sure they're visible to you as much as possible. Try and revisit them, if not daily, then every week. These are always up for renewal, so don't feel like that they are values that you need to hold for the rest of your life. These do mold and change over time, so continue the process until you're really comfortable with what you've got. It's a very, very personal thing, and I really hope you enjoyed the process. And as always, go forth and be great.